Imagine raising 7.5 crore in just 48 hours with your life partner by your side. That's the incredible story behind India's leading cashback platform. In this podcast, we will uncover how Swati and Rohan Bhargava built CashKaro and turned their passion into a thriving business backed by none other than Ratan Tata. Are you curious to know more? Stay tuned to learn from the power couple behind this success story.
How has your small town, upbringing shaped your perspective as an entrepreneur? And do you believe coming from a non-metro city really benefits you in the way, you go about building a business?
Well, like you said, I grew up in Ambala, and looking back, I wouldn't have it any other way. Right. I think Ambala brought me up with a lot of love, with a lot of values, with a lot of focus, and not as much distraction actually as much as big towns do. And I remember the first time when I came to Delhi, and we went for the Singapore Airlines scholarship interview. It was for 11th and 12th, and everybody who was applying had done the chemistry Olympiad and the maths Olympiad. I'd not even heard of these things because this was like 1999, right? Now people still have a lot more exposure. And I remember telling the Singapore Airlines scholarship, principal there that, ma'am, unfortunately, I don't know these names. I don't have exposure to this. But if you give me the opportunity, I will really give my all and, make you proud. And I think that hunger is what a lot of people from small town carry. Right. And, I remember in LSE as well, when I got admission, we were like, oh, it's actually going to be expensive, right? So the first thing I did was actually apply for a scholarship to LSE. And I got 80% tuition fee, but the rest of it, my dad actually helped me out with. And I know that, they also had to sacrifice things to make that happen. Absolutely. So you've come from that background where you've seen sacrifice, you've seen what it means to, have that good education and what all people have done for it. Right. So I think you just have that value consciousness a lot more. And not to say, of course, that people in big towns don't. And good businesses have been built from people of big and small towns.
Absolutely.
But I have no regrets not growing up in a large town. Yeah.
Rohan, coming to you. You both met at LSE, right? And what sparked the idea of partnering in business?
So we met at LSE. We were flatmates. A few years later, we got married, and both in very nice, comfortable jobs in finance. And something kind of triggered, right? I think both of us were at a confluence where we had stopped finding joy in what we do, right? And I think that sense of, are you happy with what you do? I think when we sort of looked at, is this 30 years of our lives? We probably said no. Yeah. Along the way, you kind of start saying, okay, what are your options? And I'm sure, many of you guys in the room are probably thinking the same, that look, absolutely, what else, right?
Absolutely.
And in that questioning, you go through the entire evaluation process, right? So, can I get a job in a different industry? And, if you've been in a particular industry for a very long time, you're sort of not suitable for another industry. So for example, in finance, if I had to go from finance to FMCG, you sort of go back down the curve and say, hey, can you build up again? And that just felt a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
I think both Swati and I somewhere wanted to be entrepreneurs also. But
So Rohan had the entrepreneurial bug. So when we got married, I was at Goldman, I was pretty sorted, right? So I said, aur kya chahiye? Like actually because, and that happens that, when you are in a job for so long, you actually don't even question. I didn't even have a LinkedIn profile. I had no idea about other industries. I was pretty okay. And I was working from 8 a.m. till midnight every day, and I was still okay, right? So you get so used to it. Yeah. But every time he used to talk about an idea, I used to think like, why not? Like sometimes you need somebody else to make you think differently also. So I'd say all my credit of entrepreneurship goes to Rohan. In more than one ways.
So I think therefore for us entrepreneurship happened as one of the options. And look, I think it's been an incredible journey. Great learning, great growth. I think it's been 13 years doing this. I still wake up every day as excited as ever before. It's not easy. You guys all know it. Whether you're building a small business, large business, it's hard work. The challenges are very similar. People, talent, tech, ideas, competition, all of it happens, right? Happens to you from all directions. But it's, are you happy every day, right? Are you at least excited to face the challenge because it takes a lot out of you, physically, emotionally. So yeah, so I think that's sort of how it happened.
So I would say that you two really complement each other that way, right? And I think
Thank you.
finding
We think
that
so, so.
co-founder match in your partner should be really special. So Swati, coming to you, you recently overcame a kidney transplant, and I'm sure that journey was something that took a lot of resilience. Would you like to share how that journey was with the audience and just elaborate on how you built that willpower?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us go through ups and downs in life. And like Rohan said, when we started our UK business, that was 13 years ago. CashKaro is now 11 years old because we started in 2013. But when I went from Ambala to Singapore and then to London, in the first year itself, I came back to Ambala. I was just getting routine blood tests, and there was a problem with my kidneys. I think almost 50% of the kidneys weren't working at that point. So for me, it's always been like that, where I've accepted that there are problems that will come in life for everybody. I'm so glad that my problem bata ke aayi hai. Right. And at that point, I didn't think about coming back to India, going back to Ambala, giving up what I have. Because itni mushkil se I had gone to that point where I've got that LSE scholarship. I wasn't going to give it up for anything. Yeah. And health issues, so of course, one has to live with it. So I studied at LSE. I started work at Goldman Sachs in London after that. Right. And I worked these long hours in investment banking. And people used to say, oh, with this, if half of your kidneys are not working, you can work long hours. I said, yeah, because actually we all don't realize our bodies are amazing. The kidneys actually don't need to be working 100% for us to have a normal life. You should try that they do, but just in case they don't, okay, it's fine as well. Yeah. So I took care of myself. I used to have a lot of dietary restrictions which I would follow. I've been quite disciplined like that. I've trained myself to do. And after that, when we started our business, I thought that, oh, this is easier because you're going to be your own boss. But entrepreneurship is also a lot of work. Yeah. And over the last 20 years, I managed it. But over time, the kidney function kept falling. And 2 years ago, it got to a point where it was 4-5%. It was also the point where we were actually raising our Series C fundraise. Right. So I just had these two things in mind. Ki fundraise karna hai, plus saath mein I'm getting to 4-5%. So the doctor told me in like July, August, exactly 2 years ago, that you should get a transplant. And I was like, why? Like, I'm fine. And he said, you don't know, you're at 4% kidney function. Your hemoglobin is 5.5. You are working top speed because your mind is, letting you do it. It's because of your mental strength, but the body doesn't have that strength. So you must accept that, So we just did tests with my mom. Thankfully, she was a good match. And, the transplant happened, and it was, we were working towards the fundraise. And I remember that, 4th November, like Friday, we announced the fundraise in the media, everything. Saturday, Sunday, we chilled over the weekend at home. Monday, I checked into the hospital. And, I was there for 10 days, got my transplant done, came home. 4-5 days later, I started work from home. Because I think working was actually a way to get back to normal and feeling, normal, and you need something to return to as well. So after that 3 months, you're not allowed to go out much. So managed that from home and then gradually started normal life.
Rohan, you're very focused on your fitness journey as well. So what does your fitness routine look like, and how do you focus on, finding time as an entrepreneur?
Look, I think part of what you have to, and there are certain decisions you got to sort of make, right? And say that, look, these are how I live my life, right? You see, as you get older, you realize that how you get old is very important. Are you able to continue to enjoy life, right? So when I look at, let's say, my parents, I feel that this is probably their best time, right? Because they have no responsibilities. Right. They have money. They're as free as you will ever be in life, right? But at that stage in life, if your body is not going to support you, then you have a problem, right? And I think I think COVID for us at least was a big realization of many ways, right? That look, life is finite, things can happen. And I think from there, we started, at least I started doing a few things. One was food. You are what you eat, right? And that's been said many, many times. So I made some very specific, very concrete changes. So one thing that I do very regularly is intermittent fasting. It's an incredible thing to do. It is backed by tons and tons of science. You can look at YouTube. You will find tons of doctors to academics will talk about it. They'll talk to you about the science behind this. So my typical routine would be I do breakfast around 8:30. I do lunch around 2. And that's my last meal of the day. And then I do breakfast the next day. I also do a fairly active workout. So I do a workout at least 5 days a week. Part of it is mixed martial arts. Part of it is calisthenics. Reasonably intense. When I do these workouts in the morning, I have not eaten for, usually about 13, 14 hours. Oh, wow. Trust me, it doesn't do anything. Now, if you can do that, you're high on energy and you're taking care of yourself. And, something that you learn, if you talk to anyone in the army, right, it'll always be like, look, if you are not protecting yourself, you can't protect anybody else. Right? So, in some sense, if I am the problem, then people have to look after me, right? Yeah. So I think we've generally at home also, right? I think that, and also through Swati's history, we've generally been very health focused. But that's what I do, and I strongly, strongly recommend you guys to do it. I can send you tons of literature around it. I'm probably doing a LinkedIn post in the next couple of days just talking about fasting and the science behind what happens when you go from a 12-hour fast to a 72-hour fast. And you can do a 72-hour fast in 3 months, right? And you'll be okay. Yeah. My father, who's 73, does it. And he's doing okay.
So, tell me about the culture at CashKaro and what kind of systems you've built inside to allow people to, develop into better versions of themselves.
Well, the culture at CashKaro, I would say, is very inclusive. It is fun, but it's also driven towards giving you a lot of ownership and pushing people to actually find new ways to succeed, questioning the traditional means itself. Yeah. Because if you see, our own business is actually questioning why you only need sales via Google and Facebook when you are not able to get profitability out of that. Yeah. Right? So therefore, we are geared towards thinking out of the box. And we've done a lot of different things to develop culture over time. And small things like lunch and snacks every day are on the house in CashKaro, because when we started, our first office was actually in a service department where it was, and then we went into another house after that where we took ground floor, then we took first floor, then we took second floor, the whole house was ours. But we always had a kitchen in these places. So the cook used to make food and people would eat together. So we've grown up as a company eating that lunch together and realizing that actually it's a great time to foster friendships and relationships. Absolutely. And friendship is actually a core value at CashKaro. It's amongst our written values: friendship, gratitude, appreciation, hustle, ownership, raising the bar, excellence. We have about 8, 9 of those, transparency. So friendship is one of those. So now that we are, we've gone from that 2-member team to 430 people today. Wonderful. We actually continue to provide lunch every day because we think that's a great time for people to get together. Absolutely. And that is also part of culture building, right? Where friendships are there, you will have less backbiting. You'll have more people having each other's back. And ultimately, that's what unifies them. It's not one team versus another. It's the whole company chasing a common goal. Absolutely. And then when COVID came, I think initially it was a bit disoriented for everyone because we would start our morning at 9:30 and दिन भी खत्म हो गया, पता नहीं लगा, किसी से बात नहीं हुई, कुछ नहीं, because it's everyone's in their own world logging in. Yeah. So we said, okay, we must do something and bring people together. So we started, which we randomly started calling, and it became a brand called the CK Morning Show. So everybody gets on a video call at 9:30, and we started off with, and which we still do, 4.5 years later, it happens every morning. We wish people, jinka birthday hota hai, some work anniversaries, there are business updates. Now, initially I used to host the show every day, but then now what is evolved to is a different person in the team hosts every day, a different person is a guest on the show, and there are people who we are celebrating. Because what we don't want is anybody in the company, not even one person, to feel like nobody knows I exist. If I don't show up tomorrow, nothing will happen. Yeah. Everyone is important, and therefore everyone must be known. You have to know people for importance to develop. Absolutely. So it brings it, it just makes a very level playing field in the morning. A director can be hosting, an analyst can be hosting, and it just makes things equal. And then after that, recently, like Rohan came up with this idea of a CashKaro Sports League. So we organized that across the team, and we had people into playing 10 sports, badminton, cricket, football, even pool and carom in-house, hurdles, sprints. And the energy that we saw during CKSL was unreal. People would, normally 6:30 khatam hota hai, people want to chalo go home, right? Uske baad everyone's going for practice at 8 p.m. There are 50 people playing badminton. I'm like, what's happening? Kisi ko ghar nahi jana hai, So the way that sports brings people together is amazing. And I think that's, I credit Rohan for that idea always, because the way that he drove that with the teams, it was very exciting. And now people are like, oh, when is the next one? When is the next one?
I think one other aspect that that we put a lot of effort in is on the learning and development side. And I think something that, a vision that Swati and me both share is that, people are going to be part of the journey. They will find opportunity elsewhere, but they should always look back at their time with CashKaro with a lot of fondness, right? No, but not just fondness in terms of, look, I made great friends, but I really grew as part of the company, right? And, one of the things we realized very early on is that people stay with you for, money is one part of it, but a lot of people are saying, am I growing, right? So is this company finding a way to invest in me? And if you can do that, then you can actually keep people longer, right? Because look, for every company, retention is important. Those people will, other people that you invested in, they need to sort of stay with you for the long term. And therefore, from the earlier days of the company, we spent a lot of time doing L&D. So I would train, I think at least a good 100, 150 people have learned Excel from me. Wow. I still run those classes. We've done Power Query classes. We've done SQL classes. We are now at a place where the people that I had taught are now the trainers for Excel, for SQL. There are people who've just joined SQL classes who have then said that, look, you know what? I don't like what I was doing in influencer marketing, but I love SQL. And we've enabled a job transfer, right? Because at the end of the day, people want to feel like, look, I'm growing. I don't want to do this, right? And look, I mean, I have gone through my own cycle where it's like, I think I like this, but I prefer this job to this job. And if somebody gives you that opportunity to move along the way and still be part of that organization, then that really works. So I think we've invested a lot of time, a lot of efforts on learning and development. And that continues to be a theme. I'm pretty confident that anyone who's been at CashKaro can walk into any organization and be the best Excel person, analyst in that company. And I've had people who've gone from CashKaro to Cornell, and they'll write back saying, I know everything. So yeah, that's something that I think has helped us a lot.
Coming to your, successful fundraisers, we already heard about, a thrilling one, but you've also raised funds. So I was, I guess, going through this podcast of both of yours, and you talked about how you raised your first 7.5 crores in 48 hours from friends and family. Now I know we're all going to want to hear about the story with Mr. Ratan Tata as well, but I would love to just go over this particular 48 hours and just how it felt to have the conviction of your, friends and family into your, venture.
I think F&F rounds are good, but they're also a little scary, because you are asking the most close people to invest money. So you have to be very sure, and you're always thinking, oh, hope my friendship doesn't get affected in future. But thankfully, it's not been like that. It's been good. We were in London when we launched CashKaro, and within 3 months, we were seeing good organic growth. So, and back in 2011, 12, when we were doing pouring bounce, fundraise wasn't as common as today. Today it's like, entrepreneurship pay, like there's tons of content and podcasts, and I mean, before you even become an entrepreneur, you can have all the gyan of the world already, right? It wasn't like that. And while we came from a banking background, we had not really been to a lot of entrepreneurship conferences or thought about fundraise. It literally just came out of saying, hey, this is growing well. Can we get some more money to put in it? Because we've already put in a lot of savings already of ours. And we said, okay, let's raise money. And Rohan was in India. I was in London then. And I just wrote to, a few of our friends and family from Goldman and LSE and went for the first meeting. Came back and told Rohan that actually it's interesting. Like, I think he sounds interested. Like, really? Okay, great. So, so then we went back, got the first investor to say yes, went to a few other meetings, and it started happening ki I started off on one day as a lunch thing, right? And then next day, because that day went well, I was like, acha, so next day I did about 4 or 5 meetings back to back, and after every meeting, I'll come and call Rohan, yeah, this one is in, this one is in, and then 5th time he would be like, in, I'm like, in, so and then towards the end of it, I think, in an angel round, also a bit of a snowballing happens, because when you have a few people who are saying yes, some of the others also start getting FOMO. Their friends are like, "Arey, ye paisa dal raha, opportunity close hone wali hai," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm closing the round tomorrow," because I didn't even we thought we'll raise $250,000 or $300,000, but in 48 hours we had $750,000, and the last person whose check we took in, he had not even met us. Yeah.
I think that just speaks about the conviction people around you had in you.
And it was India, right? It's the India story as well. It's two things. It's the India story plus its founders who you know. And I think after doing it for a couple of times, when I was doing the next things, my pitch also became better towards it, because I had practiced more. And then I realized for further rounds, ki pehle hi practice kar lo, it's better, because then you keep getting good at it.
So I really wanted to ask, how do you go about hiring for CashKaro and EarnKaro, and what are you looking for when you're sitting across? I'm sure you don't take interviews right now as much as you would have earlier.
No, we do. Hiring is an important part of founder's job, I think, until you stay a founder or something.
So what do you look for when you're sitting across a person who you know has all the technical competencies you need for the role?
Yeah. Absolutely. In India, there is a lot of talent, but I think often we're looking for exceptional talent, right? Everybody wants to look for that. And apart from the technical skills, like when I am meeting someone, first thing I'm attracted to is their energy, right? What is there positive energy? Is there a hustle about them? Is it like a desire to, okay, I'll roll up my sleeves and get down to it and let's solve this problem, right? So we're looking for that. I think communication skills important in every role, regardless, because even if you are a techie, you need to be able to explain and communicate your product, and if you have that, you'll have an edge.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be, are you able to communicate in English?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at the end of the day, you have a concept.
Yeah.
Put it in whatever language that works.
Yeah.
So you're great at doing it in Hindi, do it in Hindi. We have a tech team in Chennai, do it in Tamil.
Yeah.
But how do you take a concept and articulate it in the right way so that somebody gets it? And I think that's something that we look for.
And while hustle and ownership, dependability, these are they might sound overused for the startup world, but why we use them so much and why we look for them is because very often, there is no set path. Our team members who are saying, okay, tell us what to do, then we're like, no, you also need to tell us what to do, right? So we all need to tell us what to do. So that kind of hustle of saying, okay, I'm going to solve, I'm going to stay at it. If this doesn't work, I'll try this. If not this, I won't hesitate to go out and post and ask and take help and do whatever it takes. So that's why it's important. And ownership is important because we can't be checking everyone's work. So if you've got a project, you need to own it end to end. And it can't be that, oh, I did this part, but this one was something else. Now they didn't do it, so it's not my problem. Because then whose problem is it? Everything can't be our problem, right? So when we are hiring people, we're looking for people to share that responsibility, right? Who take that step forward. And team is everything. You can only be your dream can only be as big, as good as your team, because both of them are needed to go together. So that's why that's important. I mean, there is hard work. There's no saying ki, yes, work-life balance is there, and I don't think a lot of people in our team are doing overtime every day. But when it's needed, and it's also about what you do on the job, and the hard work needed to really make it happen.
I think in terms of hiring process, and I think this will be very useful for those who are running your own setups. We've set up a process where you need to ensure that you're hiring for strength.
So and not for lack of weakness.
Right. So now in every role, and see, sometimes what happens in an interview is that you just get along really well, right? Great energy, great vibe, everything is good. You also get attracted to people who are like you, right? So it could be, and there are biases and layers of biases that exist that we are not familiar with. So you need to be very clear that for this role, what do you want, right? So there are these absolute must-have skills. So for example, if you're hiring for a partnership role, communication is super important. Now what we then do is we say, okay, communication is important, but how am I going to assess it? I can't sit in a meeting and say, look, I had a conversation and great communication. In a partnership role, the communication is not just how you speak, it is how do you take a concept or an idea. So for example, let's say if I need somebody to convince somebody on using EarnKaro, the communication or the layers of conversation will happen from a LinkedIn message to a email. So, hey, I would love to work with Nika on EarnKaro, and this is what EarnKaro is. You have 300 words, characters to deal with, right? So, can you write that message? But now that you have an opportunity where somebody says, sure, I'd love to learn more, email me on swati@nika.com. Now what happens? You have to probably create a presentation, or you have to take an idea and again, make it short, make it punchy. So we're saying, look, we'll do the assessment. So you have your must-have skills, and then you have a very in-depth hiring process, right? So it could be communication, it could be interpretation of data, it could be relationships that you have, which are easier to judge. So that gives you your must-have skills, right? And then there are nice-to-haves. So even when you're now assessing, or let's say if 3 people are assessing, we're just checking if the person matches those skills and who's the best for that. Some people, you get along with some people really well, but that's not the right person to hire always. Then we build processes on, how do you figure out which companies to source from? A lot of times we'll be like, look, product chahiye to Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra, Nykaa. Are they going to, because the scale of the company has changed, right? The kind of work that a product person will do at large organizations is going to be very different from a startup. So somebody who's working at a startup and doing product there is actually doing the 0 to 1, right? You're trying to figure out, see, my gut is that somebody who's sitting at Flipkart today is not trying to figure out how does SMS integration with Netcore work. Uska kaam nahi hai, there is already a guy who says, bhai, main karta hu na. Or what is the contract that we're going to sign? What is the pricing that Netcore is going to charge? But when you're in a smaller company, you have to understand how are we going to do that SMS integration? Is Kalera, Netcore, Clarix, who's the best one? And a bunch of other things, right? Now, what you want somebody who says, look, I can do all of this. You may not need to do it, but that's the holistic exposure that you're looking for. So, depending on the stage, your must-have start to change. Today, I'm sure Zomato is looking for very different sort of skill sets for PMs and APMs and directors there. So I think it's just about getting those processes, documenting it, and then obviously following a mix of things that
So our hiring process starts firstly with mapping the companies that we want to hire from, then making a standard score sheet that everybody who will assess will actually fill that. So all the things I said are actually the qualitative side of it. Uske upar there is the technical skills ki, if it's a social media role, we would look at, okay, what kind, questions ki, what is your capability in social media that we can judge through certain questions. And then around with the recruiter, then with the hiring manager, may or may not with the founder, depending on what it is. But hiring is something that, we are continuously involved in, because we are also always looking to beef up the leadership layer as well. And it's not only the leadership layer, the juniors who come in the company are the ones who are actually doing a lot of the work as well. So we've tried to, set up a good thing, because we really believe that, team is very important. And once somebody joins CashKaro, they kind of become our responsibility, right? So we want to also make sure that, it's the right people on the bus. Good to great Jim Collins, right people on the bus, then only the bus goes in the right direction.
Would love to open up if anyone has any questions here.
Decades back when CashKaro started, most of the e-commerce companies used to give higher number of affiliate commissions just to make Indian consumers used to online shopping. But with time, Indian consumers got used to it, and also these companies like Flipkart and Amazon and other companies started reducing their affiliate commissions. So this meant that consumers also used to get less now. So did you see any decline in consumer usage of CashKaro because of this especially? Because just for a small amount, consumer won't go through CashKaro interface.
So the concept of affiliate marketing is that a marketing company will bring a sale to a e-commerce company, right? And I'm saying e-commerce company, but it could be anything, right? It could be a real estate company, right? So a marketing company tells this e-commerce company that, look, I will bring traffic to you, I'll bring users to you, and only if they end up shopping, do you pay me money, right? So we're moving the paradigm, we're moving the marketing construct from cost per click, which is how the world operates, right? And that's what performance marketing was, to cost per sale. So we're now suddenly aligning interest with the e-commerce company completely. So we're saying, look, if I send you bad traffic, nothing happens. You don't have to pay me anything. And that's the basic idea of affiliate marketing, that I send sale to you, only if it converts, you pay me money. Now within that, we ended up creating two models. One model was CashKaro. So CashKaro was for the end user, right? So I want to buy something on Amazon. I come to CashKaro. From CashKaro, I click out to Amazon. I buy exactly as I've always done. I pay whatever price is there on Amazon. Amazon now pays me a marketing fee, an affiliate fee, right? So what Yashwant was talking about is, let's say in 2014, that fee for, let's say, mobile phones was 5 or 10%. So I get 10% as a marketing fee. From that 10% fee, I pass, let's say, 7% to the end consumer as a cashback. So if a customer goes to Amazon directly, they pay full price. If they come through me, they're getting a share of my marketing fee. That number has, gotten lesser and lesser and lesser. On, let's say, mobile phones, they're probably now between 0.25 to 2%. Right? That's the number on Amazon. Flipkart's a similar story. But what has also happened along the way is that the number of people familiar with the brand. So effectively, as your brand rises, the number of people in the marketplace grow up, your conversion goes up. Right? So that's the metric that changes. So you're therefore able to work on a lower number. Now, one of the things we realized with users in India is that people, even at a small cashback number, were happy to stay as part of the cycle. Right? So for example, on Amazon, on a recharge, we give 1 rupee. And I'm like, it's 1 rupee, right? And we just wanted to open it up as a category. We see thousands of transactions happening on recharges, right? And what people have sort of realized is that, look, it's a habit, right? Open CashKaro, click out on Amazon, and it's that simple, right? So we had to obviously simplify the experience that you open the app, click, and you go out. Now, along the way, the dynamics in India have also changed. Right? So for example, mobile phones is a very large category. Normally, this market would have consolidated towards an Amazon and a Flipkart. It didn't. Chroma happened. So Chroma became online. Now, when Chroma had to compete with an Amazon Flipkart, they said, look, we will start with 3 to 4%. OnePlus, Samsung, Realme, Oppo, Apple, they all have their own D2C sites. So someone like a Samsung will probably be okay to pay us between 3 to 10% on mobile phones, even today. And therefore, for us, it is about more shifting transaction and volume from point A to point B. Right? So that is one dynamic.
But I also want to add that affiliate commissions have only gone down for categories that are low margin. Yeah. See, mobiles is a low margin business for everyone. True. Flights is low margin for everyone, and so is groceries. ये तीन चीजों में पैसे नहीं है from a margin point of view. But hotels has it, furniture, beauty, everything else actually has margin. So what has happened over time is that while Amazon may have reduced commissions for mobiles, right, and maybe your Flipkart was at 4-5%, they'll be at 2-3%, but then fashion has gone up, beauty has gone up, personal care, health, supplement, luggage, all other categories have gone up. And you have the whole D2C ecosystem. So across categories, because D2C is also a very emerging category, and the commissions there actually are between 20 to 35%. A new brand like a Pattern or a World of Asaya will also give us 70-80% commission. It's not about newness also as much. It's about what is the cost of customer acquisition, what is the CAC for that brand right now across other channels. So why do these partners work with us, right? One might think, why does an Amazon even need you? So if you think from their point of view, each brand today is saying we need to do marketing and we need to measure what is our cost of acquiring a customer, what is our CAC across marketing channels. And what's happened over time is that Google and Facebook, Meta, is not really working for anyone because the return on ad spend there, the ROAS there is often less than 1. You're not able to recover your money, or at most you will recover your money, so you'll be at a ROAS of 1. But when you work with an affiliate marketing company like CashKaro, we are saying that you pay us commission only if we drive you a transaction. If we don't drive you a sale, you don't pay us anything. So it becomes performance based. So now if you compare, if I'm a marketer spending money on Google, I'm first actually bidding for certain keywords on Google. Usme se some people will actually come to my site. Out of that, some people will actually shop. So my cost of a buying customer has to go through that entire funnel, and I need to pay at each step of that funnel. So the cost of acquiring customer from that channel is very high for me. Versus CashKaro saying, hey, we will do marketing for you. You'll get customers on your website. If they shop, you pay me commission. It's the kind that we all want, because we're saying commission aayi to paise dena, varna kuch mat dena. So ultimately, even if you want to squeeze your budget, you want to focus on profitability, you don't want to focus on GMV as a metric, you do all the right things, but you will not cut out affiliate marketing spend, because this is the only one that's actually based on real performance. So that's why we are able to charge and get higher commissions, because partners know that if I go out and do a ATL BTL campaign, I'm not even going to recover half my spend over there. Forget about half, like it'll be like, less than 15% recovery, because we've done those campaigns ourselves. We know that they just don't work until you keep doing them, and it's a well, you have to keep putting in money there. Versus us, right? So there are certain categories that have seen margin squeeze, but those are not even the categories that are driving revenue for us today. Out of the 4,000 crores we might do in GMV, mobiles will contribute in GMV, but out of our 300 crores revenue, mobiles will not contribute much. That's why over time our commission rate at an aggregate level has actually gone up. And also, maybe you'll ask us at some point, but we've launched new categories like finance, which have also given us higher commissions. So every year, our focus is how do we increase the aggregate commission rate? And that keeps going up every year, which is a metric of success for us.
I knew CashKaro from like 2015. Then you started EarnKaro, mostly for other affiliate marketers who are not getting affiliate commissions through everyone. So CashKaro was getting that. So how did you target them? And on a EarnKaro front, how many consumers increase for you?
5 years ago, so we thought, और क्या करें, right? We're always thinking of what else to do. Yeah. And that's when EarnKaro was born. And EarnKaro, for those of you who don't know, is an affiliate marketing app. In fact, many students also use it, especially the ones who are very active on WhatsApp groups, or those who have a Telegram group as well. So what EarnKaro allows you to do is make your own affiliate links from any, for a product of any e-commerce site. So it could be your Flipkart, Myntra, Nykaa. So for example, if I am posting on Instagram about this outfit, and somebody might ask me where is it from, I normally would not give you a Myntra link ki yahan se le lo. But now I will go paste that Myntra link on EarnKaro, get my affiliate link of this and share that with someone. So if they shop via my link, I get commission. So it grew a lot through Telegram, because Telegram pick, it's like it's actually the most underrated social media channel, because Telegram has very active audiences and buying communities. So Telegrammer who owns a group will have like 5 lakh members. They'll post their own links of Amazon, Flipkart, whenever a sale is happening, anything, right? They'll just have a lot of links on these groups, and people are shopping via their links. They keep on earning money. People have earned so much money via EarnKaro. 4-5 lakhs a month, built a whole house for themselves, because we have so many users who've got so much cash back through EarnKaro, because they're influencers and they have large groups. One of you might even decide to become one, because it's actually very attractive.
I think we actually have a creator challenge this term, wherein we're supposed to start our own, content creator, career of sorts, like create a page, kind of build it up, scale it up. Okay. So that's in store for us anyway. So maybe we'll use EarnKaro.
If you do that, please use EarnKaro to make your link, so that you can get an additional cashback from there. We have housewives, a lot of other students in tier 2, tier 3 cities as well, and very often in your own groups, right? There is somebody who ki yaar mobile ka to isko pata hai kahan se lena hai, or this person knows where to buy the books from, or this girl knows where are the trendiest dresses to buy. So these people are right now helping everyone out of the goodness of their heart, which they can continue doing, but they can just take their links from EarnKaro for each of these products, so that every time they do so, they actually make money as well.
So I have a few questions with respect to the marketplace business, right? I think it's a typical Uber problem also. Do you want to go to the end consumer first, or do you want to go to the likes of Amazon, etc., right? Yeah. How do you guys go about doing that? What came first? And given that this is more of an affiliate marketplace, you had to have your SEO optimization, right? So consumers come and visit your website, right? So can you just walk us through steps and journeys on how did you make it from no consumer to 100,000 and to where we are right now?
So I think in the chicken and egg aspect, right? Affiliate marketing luckily was something that was new in India, but I think was very well established globally. So 2014, the largest US cashback site was bought for $1 billion. So, when Amazon was in India, they already they understood affiliate marketing. They understood that affiliate marketing was 25 or 30% of Amazon even back then. So I think getting brands to say that, look, I will do all of this. Does it make sense to you? And that was the easy part, right? Because again, they're also not making any commitment, right? So I think getting the brands on board was easier. And even today, right, when we go and pitch to a brand, they're like, yeah, absolutely, it's a no-brainer. We should definitely do this.
But having said that, because we came from London, we also didn't have any grounding in India. So we wrote to Kunal Bahl on LinkedIn, and we met him saying, can we get Snapdeal on board? And that's how we got him. We got Flipkart first. We didn't know who to contact Amazon in India because we couldn't find. But one day on Twitter, somebody asked me for, actually, do you have Amazon on CashKaro? And I said, no, we don't, but here you can shop on Snapdeal. And somebody actually saw that tweet from Amazon and they approached us, and that's how we got Amazon on board. But the partners came first because we needed them to get the product ready. But we could bring them on board giving the promise of affiliate marketing. Like Rohan said, no upfront commitment. So we were able to get them. Plus, I mean, it's a combination of a pitch plus a precedent abroad is already working, plus it's going to cost you money only if we drive a sale.
Yeah.
And then the partners,
I think from a user part, you always have these initial adopters, right? And, the word spreads, you do a little bit of marketing. So we did initially, we would go to a lot of colleges because we figured that, and, as we were thinking, who is our customer? Students were definitely one large segment, right? And getting access to students is, I think still relatively easier, especially when you're not looking at millions, but you're looking to get to your first 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 users. You can actually find that literally in DU. And, it was also a point where, companies like Food Panda or even the online companies, there was just a lot of couponing and discounting, and, students were they were just quick to get this. So when suddenly CashKaro came in that same mix saying that, hey, you know what, on top of that discount, you're getting an additional cashback, we just took to it. Very quickly in the cycle, we built a very attractive referral program. So we said, look, for every person that you bring on board, you will get 10% of that cashback for life. So we had some of our power users saying, look, let me get 10, 20, 30 people under me, because now every time they shop, I will earn something. And I think that's sort of what got us to the first wall, right, if you will. And then as we started to get organic, we started to use some of that money to say, hey, can I build my SEO better? Building a team there. Similarly saying, okay, look, let me try different experiments on paid marketing, whether it was Google, whether it was Meta. So we've done all of that, right? So one of the reasons that in some sense we are so vocal about like no Google, no Facebook is that we've tried so much to get users from Google and Facebook, but it doesn't work as efficiently as we would like it to. But I think that was the first phase, right? And then along the way, you keep innovating, right? You keep finding partnerships, alliances. We've done alliances with banks. We've done alliances with tons and tons of different apps in the country. And you just keep building from there.
So influencer marketing gave us a good base of users, because
Initially,
when we started doing it, we weren't targeting the common, like maybe a Masoom Minawala that you all know on Instagram, not that kinds. We were actually looking at YouTube and saying, where are the tech influencers or the make money? How do you make money kind of keywords pe jo influencers rank kare the? We would tie up with them.
2017 is when we started doing influencer marketing. And we realized that there are tons of people who are creating good content, but there was absolutely zero monetization, because like no brand was going to YouTube to do these current brand barters, right? Just didn't exist. So, influencers that had 50,000, 75,000 sort of followers on YouTube, Insta wasn't there, right, as a platform. They were happy to say, look, pay me $1,000 and I'll promote you, or pay me 5,000. So there was a phase of influencer marketing, maybe good 3 years, where we were creating anywhere between 250 to 500 content pieces for CashKaro each month, working with influencers across the board, and it was so affordable. Now, people that we've paid literally 2,000-3,000 rupees today charge $1 lakh.
Yeah.
And obviously they've grown, and the number of brands that have come in has accelerated. I think one of the things we've done obsessively is always look at the ROI funnels. So if it doesn't work, like we don't get this idea of, look, mera brand ban raha hai. And if you aren't able to see it in numbers, we're not at a place where we'll just say, look, let's build a brand. Because at some point, money, capital is a finite resource. It can run out. So we've always looked at everything from that ROI lens, right? So if I'm doing an influencer campaign, what does it give me? How many users? What is not just users? What is the LTV of those users? Looking at those ROI funnels across months and months, and then continuing to invest or not invest. So I think influencer marketing was probably one of the things that was a big jump.
From a VC standpoint, what helped you guys bring in more confidence while raising funds? Is it getting to big brands like Amazon, Flipkart on good course, or the venture capitalists seeing traction with respect to consumers? Like what led to the?
It's the traction. It's the traction and the fact that the model works, right? I think everyone wants to see that, look, if you're putting 1 rupee, are you able to make 1.1, 1.2, right? But if you're putting in a rupee and if you're getting less than that, then it's just about how much capital do you raise, and then you burn, and then you find another round to do, right? I think at every stage that we've raised capital, we've been at a point where we say that, look, at this scale, I don't need money again. But if I want to go to the next stage, then we need capital. And I think that's sort of been the 3 rounds that we've done, have always had that as the starting point for the round.
See, for VCs, I think they look for 5 main things, right? They look at what is the scale possible in your business, how big can it be, what is the market size, what is the market opportunity. Number 2, what are the precedents of success that exist abroad? So if we are able to show that, hey, Ebates was bought out at $1 billion, Fanly is there in China, Shopback is there in Singapore, there's like a large cashback site in every large e-commerce market. And to the first point that I said, the scale, the way we would talk about it is, look at the Indian shopping landscape, how big e-commerce is going to be, how much can affiliate be a part of it. So you've got scale, you've got precedents of success. Number 3, the traction of of companies. So at every stage, growth that you're able to show. Number 4, what are the unit metrics? Like Rohan said, what is the cost at which you're acquiring a customer? What plagues today Indian e-commerce, right? Why are a lot of companies not profitable? Because the cost of acquiring a customer is very high, and when you end up doing large campaigns on ATL, BTL with celebs, with TV, blasting on YouTube, you might find those ads irritating, but the brand's actually spending a lot of money on it, and because that much money you're not able to recover from the customer, the LTVs are low and the loyalty of the customer is also low because competition is very high. For example, in a D2C beauty case brand, right? So that's why you're not able to recover, and that's when the profitability suffers. And the 5th is the team. Who is the team? How strong is the team? If you're looking at a Series B level, are you still only founders with no leadership team and straight analysts with you, or have you got a structure built in? So we did a Series C at a point when we had 15 plus members in our leadership team, out of which many of them have been with us for 6-7 years and more. So investors are looking at all of this, and of course it helps if you are a flavor of the industry or flavor of the year kind of sector. So it could be AI today, it may have been, or it could be quick commerce today, but it doesn't have to be. There are so many good businesses. I don't know if Physics Wala was ever a flavor per se, or if Zerodha was a flavor, but these are solid, really good businesses. That's why we haven't gone for the flavor. We've gone for where is the problem to be solved. And we believe that in India, marketing is a problem to be solved, because in e-commerce, logistics, payments, a lot of other e-commerce enablers are solved problems today, but customer acquisition and marketing is not for businesses. So that's the area that we are looking into.
When you both said that you basically affiliates marketing is actually one of the best tools, I totally agree with it, because I have seen marketing at Flipkart and from the finance side, and I would actually say that affiliate has always been a support for all of us whenever we had to achieve targets. But when I look from the other side of the world, what I feel that today affiliate marketing has actually become very competitive as well. With PhonePe, Google Pay, Grid, all of these players even coming to the market and kind of giving coupons and vouchers. So how do you differentiate yourself with regards to your model and to be ahead of the competition?
Great question. I think that's where products like EarnKaro come into the equation. So today EarnKaro for let's say an Amazon drives about 200 million clicks per month through us. Now that's a scale that no platform is able to compete with. But we have to continuously invest in how do we make a platform like that better, deeper, richer, more competitive, right? We're also thinking about, look, after EarnKaro, what next, right? So we're experimenting with a product called BuyKaro. BuyKaro is a product, it's a pure play e-commerce platform, e-commerce marketplace platform, which is modeled after the credit store. So credit store was a great success story. Now, can we take that as a concept and place that shop into multiple windows, right? So the way I see windows is today, PhonePe doesn't have a credit store, right? Doesn't have e-commerce as such. It's still redirection or coupon distribution. But why can't, and PhonePe wants people to use their UPI product. So can we build something and say, hey, you know what? We have now created a product which can go into 20 windows. So can ICICI have a shop and restrict it to ICICI payment instruments? So it's about, are you able to constantly think about what else, right? And honestly, competition keeps you very real. So therefore, we always have to be a couple of steps ahead. We have to also be thinking about category expansion and saying, okay, so clearly in e-commerce, affiliates come in a large, right? And GPay, PhonePe, they're all doing great coupon distribution. Zomato is starting to do that. And we're now looking at saying, okay, fintech has none of this, right? So if you think of cards, loans, insurance, they're sold in a very specific way. How many of you get calls from, I am calling from ICICI Bank, right? Everyone, right? That's the model. That is how cards have been sold, right? But we're not, like, at the end of the day, we should be saying, how do I sell cards? I got to understand who are you. You know, Sakshi is somebody who shops on e-commerce. Now, can I suggest a card for her that is relevant? Can I give you a tool that allows you to say, hey, what's the best card for me? You want a card, but you just don't want a person calling you right now when you're busy saying, and the person has no idea about how to sell this card, right? If you ask this person 5 other questions, they'll be clueless. If you go to an airport today, right, there'll be some guy saying, sir, do you want a card? I don't want to be spoken to, right? But can that marketing pitch itself be changed, right? Can you tell somebody that, sir, give me 2 minutes and I will help you save 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. Now, we're saying that, look, can we build those sort of products, right? So there is no disruption happening in those markets. So we're saying, yes, we're in a competitive space. We're going to keep building, making EarnKaro better, making CashKaro better, finding ways to create better ROI compared to competition. But can we now do this for finance, right? And such a huge market. Travels, again, not enough competition there. So can we solve those areas? So it's constantly evolving, right? And I think that's what kind of keeps us awake at night on, yes, all of this is happening. What do we do better?
But also the proposition is different now, because with Paytm, with PhonePe, with everyone, like while you might get coupons, which are part of generic coupons, when you're going via CashKaro and shopping on any site, you're getting extra cash back, which is on top of all these coupons. So, you know, it's actually a little different product. And for the user, the value is so much more. So it's just about explaining to them कि ये cashback अलग है. Although cashback is a very common word used everywhere. But because this is coming from our commission, it will always be in addition to जो भी और चल रहा है site पे.
So then do you spend something on marketing as well to attract more customers at your side?
We do marketing for CashKaro because we have to build our own brand, and the 25 million users that we have, we want to take that to 100 million. So we do our own marketing, but we spend you know, a lot on more targeted efforts. So we will do influencer partnerships. We'll do you know, probably find some students to target. You know, so we'll do our own things, but we won't spend so much because you know, we are all about ROI.
Oh, thank you for your time, first of all. And so I had a question that how did you come up with this idea, and what calculations did you run at the back end that we can go ahead into this business? This is a good business opportunity whenever you started back in 2011 UK.
So, you know, I think when we started so India, like when we started India, we already had done UK, so there was a little more confidence. But when we started UK, I think one part was, like we'd obviously spoken to a lot of people. We'd seen this model work really well in the UK market, sorry, in the US market. So there was a little bit of, market understanding. We met a lot of retailers. We spoke to a lot of people to say, look, does this work? We also started this business at a point where Swati had started full-time. I was still doing my day job, right? So we sort of wanted to make sure that there is enough traction, there's enough leg room that is going to happen. So it was a cautious start. It wasn't, let's drop everything and jump in. And I think we saw traction happen soon enough. So I think second month, while we had built Pouring Pounds, we also wanted to white label the product. And we had written to Daily Mail and we said, look, can we manage or build a cashback product for you? And suddenly they said, sure, why don't you come and meet us? And again, very unexpected. I remember doing that meeting. And in this meeting, we're saying things that we were making promises that we have no idea if we can keep. Site ban jayegi, kitna time lagega? 1 mahine mein ho jayega, sir. And at this point, we have no idea, right? And we also don't come from a tech background, right? So we have no idea whether this is doable, possible. So we came out of the meeting, called our CTO saying, Aruma, ye ho sakta hai. And he said, ho jayega. I think entrepreneurship is about not risking it all also, right? And even today, right, we're creating little startups within the org. So EarnKaro is a startup. Right? Now, it's not like we're going to deploy crores into that, right? We need to test it, see whether it works, see if it sort of gives you the sort of traction or the feedback that you're expecting. And I think that's how all of us should approach that.
So I think we'll wrap up here. We would all like to say thanks as well. And if you can have a round of applause.